Good morning everyone, welcome to our EUROCUP-3 YouTube channel. Welcome to the very last race of this first season of EUROCUP-3 here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. In this crucial last race, the battle for the title intensifies with Esteban Mazón starting in pole position and feeling the pressure with a 16-point advantage over Mari Boya starting in 6th position, also fighting for the title. However, not only the drivers are fighting for the title, as the teams are also in a rivalry, especially MP Motorsport and Campos Racing with only 14 points difference. So we don't know what is going to happen, but what is clear is that this high intense race too, it's going to crown the champions of this EUROCUP-3 season. So get yourself comfortable, enjoy race 2, and my colleague Jake will continue giving you all the details about this race.
Gracias, Lara. Great to be with you, ladies and gentlemen. EuroCup-3 is about to kick off for the very last time in the 2023 season, and what a battle it has been up to this point so far. The battle is on for the 2023 EuroCup-3 season conclusion. It's been a fabulous battle all the way through this 2023 campaign. And now, here at the Circuit de Catalunya, the home of the Spanish Grand Prix, we get to watch this fabulous season conclude in phenomenal fashion. One of two men are going to be the champion in this epic season. Esteban Mazón of France or Mari Boya of Spain. All the lead up to this has been exciting and tense enough. Now we get to duel for one more time in this epic battle for supremacy. I'm Jake Sanson, great to be with you. Massive thanks to my colleague Lara for setting up the show. Now we go to battle around this incredible circuit one last time. 30 minutes plus the additional bonus lap And it's all up to this man, Marty Boyer. Can he turn the tables? It'll be a very tricky conclusion to his season, that is for sure. The 2 bonus points for pole position going to his main championship rival, Esteban Masson. So the championship gap is 16 points with 26 still available. Masson and Intrafivazak, front row of the grid once again for race 1. Jose Garfias and Nick Gilks on the second row of the grid for race 2. Bruno Del Pino alongside his teammate Marty Boyer to complete the top 6. Then Francesco Braschi and Sebastian Ogier, who sadly bowed out of the title fight yesterday. Dan Nogales and Suleiman Zanfari rounding out the top 10, with Sebastian Gravland alongside the Santalot driver Dario Cabanelas on the 6th row of the starting grid. 13th is Miron Pingasov alongside Emo Fittipaldi. Jorge Campos is alongside Georgi Jaravsky. And then the 9th row of the grid will see Georgios Makajanis alongside the GRS Green Bullet, Carl Bennett, lining up in 18th position on the starting grid for Thailand, with Dan Mavlyutyov, his teammate, lining up alone on the 10th row of the grid. A fabulous battle will conclude in what has been a very strong season indeed. The fans are in the stands, and the EuroCup-3 2023 season is about to conclude. 5 wins over the season for Marty Boyer, 7 for Esteban Masson, a win for Ogier, 2 for Braschi, and 1 race still to play out. 25 points available for the win, and another bonus point for the fastest lap in this race. That leaves 26 points on the table, and Marty Boyer needing to come up with a minimum of 2nd to at least stand a chance of winning this championship. But in order to do that, he has to hope that Esteban Masson is not going to score. 247 points currently for Esteban Masson, 231 for Marty Boyer. His podium yesterday was a good result, but he needs a lot more than that if he's going to be champion. The tide needs to turn, and the tables need to be upset big time if he's going to be the first EuroCup-3 season champion. Last night was a difficult one for him. He was able to maintain his 3rd position despite a last lap incident between himself and his Mexican teammate Jose Garfias. My suspicion is that if Garfias comes near Boyer again, he might not be quite so kind as he was in yesterday's race, and he wasn't particularly. For Tauzind Vivazak, he came through yesterday's race to get his highest ever finish of the season in 2nd place to give Campos a real chance of closing down the standings in the team's championship. There is the confirmation of the point standings going into this race. 16 points between Masson and Boyer, which means that Boyer has to finish a minimum of 2nd place with the hope that Masson doesn't finish 10th or higher. It's going to be very tricky indeed to win this one for Marty Boyer, but he has stormed his way back from difficulties in the past. Look back to Monza when he started P6 and started at the front, dropped all the way back to P6 and then charged his way back into the lead. The difference there, of course, was that the slipstream effect was massive. Here at Catalunya, it's not about slipstreaming, it's about good tactical battles and good setup. Something that the Campos Racing team and Esteban Masson have perfected over the course of the last 48 hours. And now they want to finish the job in fine style. There's also an interesting challenge on the table for Campos Racing. They came into this weekend 30 points behind MP Motorsport. They could turn the tide quite dramatically here and suddenly become the team's champions. That would be a dramatic change in fortunes. But they were 1st and 2nd yesterday, of course. And the rival team, MP Motorsport, had to be content with a rather lackluster, from their point of view, 3rd and 4th. That gave them 27 points compared to Campos Racing on 43. And that is the difference of 16 points gained for the Campos Racing team. So if they do the same thing again today, they will take the championship by just a mere 4 points. It is very close indeed to see how this all plays out. But this could be a nail-biting conclusion, certainly in the team's championship, even if the drivers' championship looks to be a bit of a foregone conclusion. However, the EuroCup-3 has never been easy to predict. From one race to the next, you never quite know who's going to have the form. Yes, Esteban Masson has taken several double wins over the course of this season. He took the double at Aragon, he took the double at Zandvoort, but he has won every single one of the first races of the weekend at Estoril, Valencia, and then again here at Catalunya. But he did have a drive-through penalty to contend with at Estoril, so he has had his difficulties too. But this title is about to wrap up. It's time to go racing for the last time in EuroCup-3, and it's a perfect start for Esteban Masson. Marty Boyer gets a good one, charges his way through nice and early onto the grass. Couple of drivers there already starting to kick up dust, but it's a perfect launch for Nick Gilks, who has come through to 3rd position in the DriveX car, and a fantastic start He can already work his way through into the first corner. Is it going to be an interesting one for the drivers as they battle their way through in the first couple of corners? There's an off already in the background. 2 or 3 cars have skated off the road. It looks like Zanfari and Pingasov. So they've already had some problems there. Yellow flags in turn 2, but it's perfect for Masson. Excellent for Intrafivazak. Stunning for Nick Gilks, but he locks up at turn 3, and it's all gone wrong as Nick Gilks loses ground to both Garfias and Boyer, who are now through into 3rd and 4th position. Yellow flags are out. So Boyer creeps his way forward. Nick Gilks sadly drops from 3rd to 5th, and it's 2 cars off in the wall as we suspected. It is Suleiman Zanfari and Midon Pingasov. So the 2 of them have already come a cropper. Very unfortunate, and with 2 cars off, that looks like it's going to be a safety car. It is indeed. Safety car is being deployed. So, big problems in this race already. But I'm afraid Esteban Masson has got the lead that he wants over Marty Boyer. So Marty Boyer fans are going to need a bit of a miracle from here on in. Oh, there's another car stopped out with damage. That looks like one of the Palou cars. I think that might be Emo Fittipaldi. So Emo Fittipaldi with rear suspension problems. Clearly having been involved in the accident as well. So this one could be a tricky one to clean up because we've got 3 cars to move now. Very unfortunate for young Emo Fittipaldi, who hopefully will be back for a full-time campaign in the 2023 season, 2024 season, I should say, sorry. But very unfortunate indeed for Emo Fittipaldi. This is not what he wanted at all to finish his season. A very frustrating end. So what that means now, of course, is that we've got a penalty coming. So a fabulous situation. And we're going to get to see what the battle continues with here. There's Suleiman Zanfari trudging away after a good season, but a frustrating end. So the Moroccan will obviously now be setting his plans in stone to get the Miami Morocco series underway. And there is Emo Fittipaldi, very distinctive based on the family helmet design. Emo very much basing his helmet lid on his father's. And there, of course, is the abandoned and stricken car of Midon Pingasov. Be interesting to see what happened in that, because we'll obviously have to see that again. But the big news story on this one, of course, is that we're going to see, most likely, a dominant streak away from Esteban Masson. Here's the start again. Look at the start from Gilks. He absolutely launched off the line. Beautiful run from the Canadian. No problems at all for the 2 men on the front end of the grid. They just marched away. No problems for Masson and Intrafivazak, but Gilks was the real superstar on the start. Got an absolutely perfect launch, a real plum of a getaway. But then by the time we got into turn 2, everything got a little bit too close for comfort. We need to look in the midfield. Wait, a little bit further back. That's where the conflagration happens, just out of shot. But the cars do obviously end up in the wall. Now, we need to see the other camera at turn 2, really, to really get a full flavour of what happened there. But the safety car is working its way past the scene of Emo Fittipaldi's stricken Palou. But this is great news for Esteban Masson, because this is ticking the time down to give Marty Boyer less of an opportunity to move his way further forward. So the Frenchman, Esteban Masson, looking so good for the EUROCUP-3 championship title here. Looks like he could be on song. Marty Boyer's done his best to move forward, and he has, to be fair, from 6th on the grid to 4th. But he's still got to get past Jose Garfias, who gave him a lot of headaches yesterday. And Taz Intrafivazak in 2nd position. I have to say, Marty Boyer got the mother of all get-out-of-jail-free cards yesterday after the race when he had a tangle with his teammate Jose Garfias. And Marty Boyer was able to keep his 3rd position on the podium. I think a lot of people would have probably looked at that and thought, hang on a minute, why on earth has that not been penalised? But apparently there were mitigating circumstances. So Marty Boyer has been allowed to keep his 3rd position. Esteban Masson, however, out in front, with Taz Intrafivazak again in 2nd place, looking for his equal best result in a EuroCup-3 car. You may think the championship is won, but all it takes is for a little hiccup with Esteban Masson's car. He drops out of the race and Marty Boyer gets into 2nd position, and then all of a sudden, this championship changes hands. So do not count this out yet. 25 minutes to go. I've seen all sorts of things in single-seater racing when it comes down to the wire. You never know until the very last lap of the very last race of the season. Esteban Masson is looking good to do it, but he's got to keep it together for 25 minutes plus the additional lap. All it takes is for one error, one mistake, one mechanical malady. As it stands, though, Masson would end the season on 272, and Marty Boyer would end on 243. So it still could be a very tough situation for Marty Boyer ahead of him. He knows it's going to be a nightmare to try and work his way back into position again. So for 25 minutes left of the season, plus the additional racing lap, Masson has got to be the calmest man in the whole of Catalonia. There is Marty Boyer. He's got one option: attack. And he's really got to go for it. And the first man he's got to try and take his position away from is the man who cost him a run at Taz Intervivazak yesterday, his teammate, Jose Garfias. I wonder what the conversation will have been in the MP Motorsport awning yesterday. Oh, to have been a fly in the wall for that one. There is the recovery job as Midon Pingazov's car is elevated and moved away. Two of the Palou Motorsport drivers then out on the first lap. Very unfortunate. There's the other one being recovered, Emo Fittipaldi, who clearly took damage from getting involved in that incident or being involved in a different one that we didn't see. But the result is still the same. There are only 16 drivers left in this race. Masson in front of Taz Intervivazak, then Jose Garfias and Marty Boyer, Nick Gilks and Bruno Del Pino, who is now the leading rookie. Not entirely sure why Taz Intervivazak was listed as a rookie yesterday, because he hasn't been a rookie all season long. So Bruno Del Pino, of course, is the man who is listed as the leading rookie, which is the way it's been for most of the season, which is why he lifted the rookie title last time out at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. And then Sebastian Ogier down in 7th position. That kind of sums up his season, really. He's scored points in every single race this year, but he just hasn't scored enough to keep himself in the championship hunt. And in fact, if Sebastian Ogier stays in 7th position, he'll be the only driver in the entirety of the EuroCup-3 season to score points in every single race this year. And that is a brilliant statistic that should not be negated. Dan Nogales currently running in 8th position, 2nd in the rookie category, in front of Dario Cabanelas and Georgi Żurawski. Then Sebastian Gravlund in front of a rather disappointed Francesco Braschi, all the way down in 12th position on the grid. So 12th position currently for Francesco Braschi, but had a really difficult situation. So a really tricky scenario then for all of the contenders out there, but Francesco Braschi had a nightmare qualifying. Only started this race from P7, but I think got caught up in the first lap incident because he's now down in 12th in front of Gianni Marcogianis and Dan Mavlyutyov. Carl Bennett is in front of his teammate Mavlyutyov, and then Jorge Campos, who I think managed to recover from the incident, is now in 16th place. Now, we've had to start another lap behind the safety car, but I don't think we're going to be behind this for very long now. Just to keep an eye on things around the course. I think we're going to have a pretty decent restart this time by, because the recovery team has actually worked very quickly. The fans are eager to see which of our two championship contenders, Esteban Masson currently in the lead, or Marty Boyer down in 4th position, is going to get the nod to go out. Safety car in this lap, we are told on the race control timing screen. So there we go. Safety car will come in at the end of this lap. We can go racing again in EuroCup-3. And this is all going to come down to Esteban Masson's handling of the situation. If he has a repeat performance of what he did in Estoril, where he got a drive-through penalty for his antics on the restart, and Marty Boyer almost goes into the back of Garfias. Oh, goodness me, you can feel the tension. Marty Boyer had to take avoiding action there to avoid hitting his teammate. That would have been the championship done and dusted right there. You do get the feeling that there are very high nerves down there on the straight. Masson's got to be careful about his restart. If he gets another drive-through penalty, then the championship could go up in smoke. But that's the perfect restart from Esteban Masson. Intervivazak's gone with him, but there is a bit of a gap between the two. Right, Esteban, time to do what you did yesterday. Just get into a rhythm, settle out in front, and charge away, and let the rest of the drivers behind them scrap amongst themselves. It's looking good for Esteban Masson on the restart as we go green, 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 green here again on the EuroCup-3 finale. Intervivazak second ahead of Garfias and Boyer. Then Gilks, Del Pino, Ugard, Nogales, Cabanelas, Żurawski looking good for the final point as Garfias has a bit of a look up the inside of Intervivazak, but realistically he's never going to get the move done. And Gilks defends from Bruno Del Pino into the first corner. And already Garfias is starting to chase down Taz Intervivazak. This is when Esteban Masson can just stretch away and win this title going away. Garfias right on the curbs on the way through to turn 4. Not able to stay that close to the Campos Racing car in front. If it ends like this, by the way, not only does Esteban Masson become the champion of EUROCUP-3 for the drivers' title, but I'm fairly sure that Campos Racing will snatch the team's title by just a mere 4 points. An absolute whisker of a comeback if they do it. In fact, I think it would actually be 2 points because they gained 16 yesterday, they would gain 16 today, and they had a 30-point deficit. So Campos Racing could actually snatch the team's title here if it ends like this, which is why it is so important for Masson and Interfurvasac to stay in front of Jose Garfias. If Garfias gets ahead, then Campos lose the championship. So there's more than just the driver's title at stake here. The team's championship is still very much on as well. Garfias wanting to make sure he has a chance. And they can't afford to tangle today, Boyer and Garfias, because the man behind them is not an MP Motorsport driver. It is Nick Gilks in the Drivex car. So Masson and Interfurvasac out in front, 1 and 2. Good news for Campos. The team's title and the driver's title are looking good for the moment, with 18.5 on the clock plus the additional lap. Garfias and Boyer doing their best to try and give chase. Garfias closer to Interfurvasac than Boyer is to Garfias, so it's definitely okay for the moment. Nick Gilks in 5th, then Del Pino, Ugar, Nogales, Cabanelas and Sebastian Gravlund in the MP. Francesco Braschi has dealt with Georgi Jaravsky and has now got himself into 11th position, the 2-time winner in the 2023 season. Come off of turn 3, that long flowing hairpin into the braking zone for 4. Interfurvasac locks up, got to be careful on that hairpin. It can snatch you away very quickly. Interfurvasac trying to stay with this man, but Esteban Masson has absolutely no match at Catalunya. He is on the march here on the circuit just outside the city of Barcelona. Brilliant run for Esteban Masson. Looking good. Hops over the curbs. Taz Interfurvasac already a 2.5 seconds back. This is Masson in championship winning mode. Catch me if you can, boys. And Boyer is already struggling to stay with Garfias. Look at that. So Boyer up to 4th position. The live point standing shows that he would be 30 points back. Not good news if you are Mari Boyer, because Masson has now taken the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. And if I know him and his form from yesterday, he's just going to keep banging in those fast times. MP Motorsport looking really nervous now because they know that if it ends like this, they lose the championship by just 2 points when they came into the weekend 30 points clear. Campos have completely transformed this title fight with an excellent job on the spanners to get both Esteban Masson and Taz Interfurvasac into race-winning mode. Rather a surprise that it isn't Francesco Braschi that's up at the sharp end. And obviously their 4th driver, Suleiman Zanfari, already out of the race. And what has happened to the pace of Mari Boyer? He just cannot rest with Jose Garfias. I think we need to have a look at the restart again. This is Masson. Now, what are we about to watch on the start? This is a replay of the restart from Masson. Did something happen? Well, this is Gilks defending into the first corner. I think we're just going back over some of the best bits from the opening part of the race. Gilks there trying to defend from Del Pino and managing to do so, and therefore falling off the back of Mari Boyer. Oh, and off has gone one of the GRS cars. That looks to me like Carl Bennett. So Carl Bennett has gone off the road, I do believe, and that could bring out another safety car. Well, that's going to make Esteban Masson sweat a little bit more, but it also prevents Mari Boyer from having the time to close up on Garfias. Although at the moment he's 1.7 back from him, so that really saves him as well as hinders him. So it is Carl Bennett who's gone off there at turn 3, I do believe. Just run a little bit deep and pitch the car off into the gravel. Now that could be covered with just a yellow flag, because that's quite a long way in. But also, conversely, that may need a safety car. We'll have to see. But Esteban Masson goes through in the lead. Onto the 8th lap he goes. Interfurvasac in 2nd from Garfias and Boyer, who is a 2.5 seconds back from his teammate. This is not good for Mari Boyer at all. Braschi, meanwhile, has managed to get past Sebastian Gravlund on the lap on the 3rd sector. So Braschi now making his way ahead. Very good news indeed for the Campos Racing team, as they now have all 3 of their cars still running in the top 10 again. And yeah, it looks as though they've covered that with a yellow flag. as Carl Bennett has gone in quite a long way at turn 3, so it shouldn't cause too much of a headache. But Esteban Masson can just continue with his run up front. 1.4 seconds ahead of his teammate. And fair play to Masson, he's actually backed off there at the yellow flag. You don't tend to see that too often nowadays. The yellow flag is there, and it's meant to be to take care and slow down because there's an accident being tended to, but you don't really see drivers backing off these days. They just go, yeah, I saw the yellow flag. Did you back off? Well, no, I was fine. But it does look as though Masson has actually backed off a little bit. Safety car has been called. There we go. So the safety car has been triggered. I think that was always going to be a little bit touch and go. But obviously in these situations, it is always better to be safe than it is to be sorry. So a very interesting situation then for all of the contenders. But certainly for Esteban Masson, that just prolongs the agony a little bit more. It's looking good for him. But 13 minutes and a half to go, plus the additional lap. There's no point having a go at the safety car for crossing the white line. It's allowed to. It's the other drivers that aren't allowed to. I saw some of you there getting ready on the keyboards. Well, a fabulous opportunity there for Esteban Masson. Is just going to have to wait a little longer, essentially. I mean, not in terms of time, but in terms of gap. But it will feel like an age. The time obviously still ticks down on the race time. But it will feel like an absolute age to Esteban Masson. He has the bonus point for the fastest lap. That really helps his cause. Every point he can score just helps make him even more of a champion than he already was set to be. He's got one hand on the trophy now. It's game, it's set, it's very nearly matched for the Frenchman Esteban Masson. He certainly has the advantage point, as it were. There's Tazin de Vervazac. I've been very impressed with the Thai driver all season. Started off his year well out in Asia, and then came back to Europe. Has done a fabulous job in EUROCUP-3 this year, been very consistent. Has been the overtaker of the season for my money. There's Jose Garfias, who's hoping to end his season on the podium. Should have had one yesterday, of course. But then he tangled with his own teammate on the last lap. And Marty Boyer is his teammate. The man sat behind him in 4th position, hoping that something goes awry for his main championship rival, Esteban Masson, in the lead. And somehow Marty Boyer is in a position to turn the tables here, because 4th position is not going to be enough to win this championship fight. And all of a sudden, his absence earlier in the season, when he was not able to compete at the race at Aragon, because of course he was racing in Formula 3 at the time, it's starting to look like the real issue that has cost him the championship. But then of course you could also say that about race 1 at Zandvoort, the race that got away when he dropped it off the road and only came home in 10th position. Esteban Masson did the same thing, of course, but Masson was able to fight back for the victory in magnificent fashion. And then, of course, there was Jerez, where, although Masson failed to score on both occasions, Marty Boyer could easily have come back to the top 3 and didn't do so on either occasion. But he has won the second race in the last 2 weekends at Estoril and Valencia. He's going to need a miracle to do it this time by the look of it. But that doesn't mean miracles don't happen. Brito Del Pino leading the rookie race in 6th position. Looking very solid and strong in order to do that. Look at the fans in the stands. They're here ready to see a brilliant show. And they're about to see a champion crowned. Yesterday in Spanish F4 we saw the crowning of the Frenchman Théophile Nal. And it looks as though we're going to see another. Esteban Masson getting himself geared up and ready for his first single-seater title. An excellent performance and a great display so far from Esteban Masson. The 19-year-old who was born in Quebec, in Canada, in the city of Montreal, where they host the Canadian Grand Prix. He was in French Formula 4 from 2019 all the way through to the 2021 season. He was in the Formula Regional European Championship in 2022. But this year, he has been in a combination of the Santalok race team in Formula Regional, and also, of course, he did the World Endurance Championship for Kessel Racing earlier this year when he competed at the Bahrain event just a couple of weeks ago. But there's an opportunity knocking here for Esteban Masson. He was the French F4 champion. My apologies. I said it would be his first single-seater title. That is incorrect. He was, of course, the French F4 champion in 2021. So now he's got an opportunity here. Just 19 years of age, Esteban Masson. A chance to seal the deal here. But his main rival, another very exciting young competitor, Marty Boyer. First saw him in action in the Miami Winter Cup back in 2018. He won the title in junior. Stayed in the karting scene until the 2020 season, was a prolific race winner, represented his nation in the FIA Karting Academy Trophy in 2019, and won the title. Competed avidly in several competitions. He won many races in Spanish F4. Came through to second in the championship in 2020. Has been in Formula Regional for 3 seasons and actually took 2 wins in the Middle East Championship at the beginning of the year in fine style. It was great to be there when he did it. Has raced in FIA Formula 3 this year. Should be strong to do so next year. And of course, next week, he will be disappearing off to Macau to race in the Macau Grand Prix. But Esteban Masson is just 8.5 minutes, plus the additional lap away from winning this title. A great opportunity. About to finish. Now, Cuba Milkilac, I hope I've said that right, is asking, will Campos win the team standings this way? Well, by my mathematics, Cuba, the team should get the job done by just 2 points, if my maths is correct. Because obviously it's only the first 2 cars that score points in the championship title. They gained 16 points over MP Motorsport by the race finishing essentially this way. 2 Campos cars and 2 MPs. So they gained 16 points back with a 30-point deficit coming into the round. So if they do it again, then as far as I'm fairly sure with my maths, that is going to be enough for Campos to snatch this title right at the very last race of the season. And what an amazing opportunity that would be. An incredible turning of the tide. 7 minutes and 40 seconds until the time runs down. There'll be a lap in hand after this. But the safety car, I think, is about to come in. Let's have a look at the best bits from the race again. Epic start from Nilk Jilks after an initial bog down, but then so too did his main rival off the start, Jose Garfias. So he dropped back. Just very unfortunate that Jilks wasn't able to hold it, as Nick Jilks obviously overcooked it into turn 4. Always a little bit nerve-wracking into that first corner. We actually had 2 or 3 wide through the first corner. Goodness me, how close did the MP Motorsport cars come to tripping over each other? I couldn't tell if that was Del Pino or whether that was Ugar, just getting a little bit close to Boyer. And then, of course, we saw Suleiman Zanfari and Milan Pingasov skating off the road. Emo Fittipaldi, we think, caught up in that and taking damage. Carl Bennett also getting involved. Safety car is still out. Interestingly, I haven't had the command yet that the safety car will be in on this lap. Incident in turn 1 will be investigated after the race. There is a 5-second penalty as well to Milan Pingasov for a jump start, but he's out of the race anyway. So it doesn't really affect anything at all. But obviously, you still have to give the penalty if there is a jump start. Doesn't matter if the driver's out of the race. Marty Boyer sat in 4th position. Just wishing, just praying, just hoping. He can see Esteban Masson's car up in the distance. Come on, something cough, something die, something break down in that car. It's my last chance to be champion, and he knows it. This is going to be such a difficult end to the season for Marty Boyer to come so close to the title and to lose it in the last races of the year. Carl Bennett's car is being escorted away by the marshals. Muchas gracias to the Orange Army. They have been absolutely fantastic all season long. Doesn't matter where we've gone. They've been very quick in dealing with the situation. And I think that means now that with the car actually moved and recovered to the safe vantage point, this is the lap, hopefully, that the race can restart. Fastest lap of the race from Esteban Masson, a 1:38.0. It will be trickier to get to the same sort of times that we got to yesterday because, of course, it's a very different time of day for race 2 as it was to race 1 yesterday evening when it was very cool. It was very cold by comparison to what it is today. I'm not saying it's scorching today because obviously it's November, but even so, It's definitely going to be hotter at this point of the day. For those who have never been to this part of Spain before, and fortunately I'm one of those that has on several occasions at this time of the year, you get up in the morning and it's absolutely freezing. Then the second the sun climbs over the mountains, it gets very hot very quickly. Within the space of about an hour, you need to take your jumper off. And then by the time the sun starts to set behind the mountains, you need to put it back on again. So you need to pack essentially for both winter and summer at this time of the year in Spain. There we go, safety car in this lap. We're going to go racing for the last time with 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, plus the additional lap. Marty, this is your last chance to win this title in EUROCUP-3 and take it away from Esteban Masson. You may need a miracle, but if you believe in miracles, this is the time to keep the faith. The safety car is peeling off. Esteban Masson is backing up the pack. He's got the protection of his teammate Taz Interfurverzak to help him out even more. But the field is ready for one final charge. The EUROCUP-3 season 2023 is about to conclude, and for Esteban Masson, this is the moment. Drop the hammer! And off he goes. Interfurverzak is closer to him than he was previously, but it's not going to matter. Boyer is behind him by 3 places. So for Esteban Masson, this is game on and championship incoming. In a little over 5 minutes' time, he is going to become champion if it stays like this. Green, 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 green. One last time. Masson, Interfurverzak, Garfias and Mari Boyer, the top 4 already stretching away as Gilks is trying to shake off Del Pino to the first corner. Del Pino tries! Gilks almost hits him and Del Pino gets him before they even get to the braking zone. Good run from Bruno Del Pino off the final turn. Not a lot that Nick Gilks can do about that. If anything should happen to one of the Campos Racing cars in front, MP now has 3 cars in the top 5 to take advantage of the situation. So the team's title could still be settled by Garfias and Boyer attacking Interfurverzak for second. Masson looks like he's going to win the driver's title, but MP have not given up on the team's title. There's Gilks, down to 6th position behind Del Pino, and there's Sébastien Ogier, the prolific point scorer, looking like he's going to score points in every single race this season, something nobody else in EuroCup-3 can say they've done in the 2023 campaign. Up the hill. Still looking good for Masson. Interfurverzak still second from Garfias and Boyer. Then Del Pino, Gilks, Ogier, Nogales, Rashi and Dario Cabanelas in front of Sebastian Gravland and Georgi Shadavsky. Then Markojanis, Campos and Mavlutiov. Bit of a protection there up the inside from Nogales. Sorry, that's Gilks still trying to defend from Ogier with Nogales behind them. So Nick Gilks, the Canadian, still trying to keep the Danish talent Sebastian Ogier, 3rd in this year's championship, and that is now secure. 2 minutes to go. So they'll go into this lap, and then they'll have 2 more by my mathematics. Unless something were to happen in the final couple of laps of the season. Masson. 1.2 seconds clear of Interfurverzak already. Gilks is trying to shake off Ogier, but Ogier has the toe. Big launch forward as Gravland goes to battle with Cabanelas. And that is the opportunity up the inside there. So already a decent overtake. Oh, and a big run wide from Gilks. Gilks has lost ground to Ogier. Cabanelas got through on Braschi, but Ogier has got through on Gilks as well. Gilks making a big mistake on the way to turn 3. He's had good paces, Gilks. In qualifying, he is one of the best out there. But in race trim, he still needs to learn how to keep these tyres fresh. Nogales now trying to go right round the outside of the Canadian. 1 minute left on the clock. And Gilks is doing his best to try and keep Dan Nogales at bay. Nogales has found a space on the inside line. There's not a lot that he can do about that. So Nogales finds his feet. Masson, Interfurverzak, Garfias, Boyer, Del Pino and Ogier. MP Motorsport are ready to take advantage of the situation if it so happens. Let's have a look at how Gilks messed up. Oh, he overshot at the chicane. That's what happened, so he obviously had to stay left of the bollards. And that was how Sebastian Ogier was able to get the run. So a perfectly easy situation for Sebastian Ogier. They don't use the Grand Prix chicane anymore. I'm one of the people who is absolutely delighted by that. I've always loved this last sector being flat on the throttle. The penultimate lap, 2 to go for Esteban Masson. The nod from the mechanic. It's almost done, mate. Come on, Monbrave. You can bring this home. 1:37.6. A new fastest lap for Esteban Masson. Looking so good for the title. Time runs out. Masson just needs to finish this lap and then the last one, and he is the EuroCup-3 champion of 2023. So strong from Campos as well. Inter staying in second position will give them the team's title, and they will have the greatest snatch, the greatest steal since the Great Train Robbery. Campos were 30 points back from MP Motorsport coming into this one. If it stays like this, they'll beat them to the title by just 2 points. Esteban Masson, 1.7 seconds clear of Taz Interfurvazak. Garfias is now a second and a half back. It doesn't look as though they're going to be able to put up any kind of challenge at all. Interfurvazak is driving out of his skin in second place to drop Garfias and Boya. They tried their best, but it just doesn't look as though they're going to get the chance. Campos have been so strong setting up the cars this week. They had the measure of the Catalunya circuit. MP will have to come back in 2024 and try again. It's been such a competitive season. Every single race, you weren't really sure from one weekend to the next who was going to have the upper hand. Would it be Francesco Braschi? Would it be Masson? Would it be Boya? Or would Sebastian Ogier even get a look in? It's been a tough old season in the EuroCup-3. But when Masson moves on to pastures new, he will tell the world, I was the EuroCup-3 champion, and he will go down in history as the first ever EuroCup-3 champion. The final lap begins, and he's already 2.1 seconds clear of Taz Interfurvazak. Masson just needs to drive the circuit he knows so well and just keep it together for one last lap. Garfias is going to get his podium that he arguably should have got yesterday, but Boya will be there behind him in fourth place. Campos cannot believe what they are about to do. They were 30 points back, and it looks as though they're about to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat in both the drivers' and the team's titles. They were 30 points back in the team's title. They were only 1 point ahead of Marty Boya in the Drivers' Championship, but they're going to leave with a massive Drivers' Championship advantage, and a very slender Teams' Championship advantage. They're going to oppose the two gaps. So Masson comes through the right-hander, down the back straight, and surely now nothing can stop him from getting this job done. He's been so strong all season long. He has won 7 races. The double in Aragon, the double later on in the season when he took the 2 victories in fantastic fashion. Double winner in Aragon, double winner at Zandvoort, Estoril winner, Valencia winner, Catalunya winner, but it looks as though it's about to be his 3rd double of the season. Out of the final turn he will come, and the 2023 EuroCup-3 season champion is crowned. Esteban Masson wins for the 8th time, and he is the new EuroCup-3 season champion. Formidable for Esteban Masson. Excellent result. Interfurvazak comes home in 2nd place for Campos, and incredibly, Campos have wrapped up not just the Drivers' Championship for Esteban Masson, but the Teams' Championship as well, by just 2 points by my mathematics. Amazing. Enzo Deligny comes over to congratulate the team. What a phenomenal turnaround. They had a 1-point advantage over Marty Boyer in the Drivers' Championship. They were 30 points back coming into the season. It's just sunk in at Campos. They know that they've just won both championships in one fell swoop. What an astonishing turnaround. It's one thing to win the Drivers' Championship the way they have, but they didn't just do it with Esteban Masson. They won the team's title with Taz Interfurvazak as well. Great effort for MP Motorsport. And I'm sure that for the whole team, the legacy and the tribute that they've been paying all season long to our dearly beloved and dearly missed and cherished friend, Delano Van 't Hoff, will continue on in the years to come. They will race in his memory for many a season. They put up such a great effort. And fair play to Garfias, to Boya, to Del Pino, and to Sebastian Ogier. As well to Sebastian Gravland, who just missed out on the points today. The team have been resilient in difficult circumstances, and the boys and girls in orange and black are very much the heroes of 2023. They'll bounce back in 2024, don't you worry. They will come back to fight again. What a phenomenal season it's been in the EuroCup-3. But here come The heroes of the hour, the Campos Racing team. Francesco Braschi draws level with them. And the rest of the field follow in their wake. Campos Racing come from 30 points back to win the title by 2. And Esteban Masson, who only came in with 1 point's advantage on Mali Boya, sweeps the title by 30 points. What a turnaround. The Campos boys are absolutely determined to start this party early. They want to get the bandwagon going. As much as this is an amazing job from Esteban Masson, you also have to say a fabulous wing guard effort from Taz Interfurvazak. Without him, Campos would not have won this title. And that is a very fair thing to say. Wow, absolutely sensational end to the season. A terrific end to the year and a terrific pair of champions. The Campos Racing team and Esteban Masson. But full credit to Bruno Del Pino as well, the MP Motorsport driver who won the rookie title this year, and very deservingly as well. But out of the car steps your hero for the 8th time this year. Your winner, Esteban Masson. Drink it in, folks. For the 3rd time this year, Esteban Masson sweeps both races of the weekend. His 8th win of the year, and a very deserving first EuroCup-3 champion. Well done to Taz Interfurvazak. Without him, Masson would have been the champion regardless. But without Interfurvazak, Campos would not be winning this championship here today. Thoroughly deserved. And as much as Esteban Masson's achievement as the driver's champion is very, very important for the Campos race team, Taz Interfurvazak is very much just as big an MVP as Esteban Masson. And I have to say, as much as it would be easy to give Esteban Masson the accolade of driver of the weekend, for me, I'm actually going to give it to Taz Interfurvazak. Masson probably would have had the edge over Mali Boya thanks to qualifying in both races anyway. But without Taz Interfurvazak, Campos would not be the team's champion this weekend. MP were throwing everything they had at them. Braschi was not able to keep up with his teammates, but Interfurvazak had to rise to the occasion. He pulled off his best result of the season yesterday with a 2nd place, and he did it again today without putting a single wheel wrong. Masson is the champion. For me, Interfurvazak is the driver of the weekend. His best 2 races of the season, and he helps Campos to become team champions. This is going to be quite the celebration. Let's look back over the highlights of the final race of the season. There weren't many, to be fair, thanks to the 2 rather time-cutting safety car periods. But right from the start, Masson and Interfurvazak had the measure of everybody else. And it was basically the sorcerer and his apprentice from lap 1. Gilks had the chance to really shake things up in 3rd position. Sadly, that chance faded within the 1st lap. Pingasov and Zanfari in the barriers. Fittipaldi with damage out of the race, and Gilks dropping back. Carl Bennett would spin off the road to bring out the 2nd safety car. But from the restart, there was never any doubt that the Campos pair were going to disappear out into the lead and take control of the final race of the season. Gilks did his best to fend off Del Pino and then Ugar, but he couldn't quite make it happen. Up in front, though, it was all about Masson and Interfurvazak, the men who have made Campos Racing team's champion. Esteban Masson is the driver's champion. Taz Interfurvazak, a brilliant 2nd from Jose Garfias, a worthy podium finisher. Mali Boya, so near and yet so far. Bruno Del Pino taking the last rookie win of the season in the year he won that title. Sebastian Ugar, 6th, points in every race this year. Dan Nogales, Nick Gilks, Francesco Braschi, and Dario Cabanelas, the last point scorers of the season from Sebastian Gravlund and Georgi Jadavski, Georgios Makajanis, Jorge Campos, and Dan Mavlyutyov. All 4 of the others retired: Carl Bennett, Suleiman Zanfari, Miron Pingasov, and Emo Fittipaldi. What a fabulous conclusion to the EuroCup-3 season it has been, and a very deserving champion. I think any of the 3 at the top 3 of the standings would have been deserving of the championship title, but it's very fitting that the Frenchman Esteban Masson gets the job done.
Congratulations! last race of the championship and last point won. What do you think about the race and about the season?
Yeah, I mean, just over the moon today, pole and win for the last day of the championship, which means I can seal the championship. I mean, I'm just super happy and grateful of everyone who helped me to be here on top today. Yeah, just to claim this championship is huge for me and it means a lot. And we can claim the team championship as well, so I'm super happy for everyone who have worked really hard this year, and everyone of the team deserves this.
What do you expect for the next year? Any plan that you can tell us?
I mean, of course, I would like to go up for Formula 3 or other categories for the path of Formula 1, but now I didn't sign anything yet, so I hope I can find something good. We'll see.
Congratulations, enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy it indeed. Those moments are few and far between in a young driver's junior ladder career. Savour every race victory, savour every race title, savour every good day. There are tough days, there are nightmare days. So the good days make it all the more worth it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is nothing tougher than being a racing driver on the junior ladder of motorsport. Nothing is ever certain, nothing is ever secure. And you are under the scrutiny and the gaze of the world's media from the age of 9 as a youngster in karting, climbing up the ladder of the single-seaters. And it's been an absolutely sensational battle for Esteban Massot. The EuroCup-3 season has gone his way, and the Campos Racing team have snatched victory from the jaws of defeat in the final race of the season. An absolutely terrific end to what has been a sensational EuroCup-3 season. We can't wait to do it all again and come back for more in 2024. I'm Jake Sanson. Thanks for watching EuroCup-3 in 2023.